Well, welcome back. It's been a while, but this is Eric Arnold here in the Politics Barn. Oh, what is it, June 10th? In the year of our Lord 2023. Oh, I don't know, around noonish. So, I've been troubled by the news that former President Trump, leading Republican candidate for president, has been indicted yet again in the classified documents nonsense. Allegedly, if you just tuned in, the FBI raided his home. It's got to be over a year ago, and now an indictment has just dropped. I guess 7 charges or 7 counts of mishandling secret information. I'm not going to get into the weeds of what's legal, what's not legal. All you need to know is a couple things. Nobody's ever been charged for this sort of thing. The other side, i.e., Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, they've done the exact same thing and continue to do the exact same thing. And nothing's ever been done about it. This is an entirely political witch hunt. Lawfare is what they call it. In other words, warfare is when I take a gun and I try to enforce my political will upon you by threatening to kill you unless you accede to my political demands. Lawfare is the same thing, except I use a paper and a pencil with the threat of a gun way back here in the background. So that's what they're doing. They're using paper and pencils and pens to try to force their will upon, well, ultimately Donald Trump and his followers and anyone else that doesn't like the Marxist in command. Basically, the Republican Party, a lot of independents. So they're using lawfare against us. Again, it's a nicer form of warfare, but ultimately it is warfare because that is the threat that is implicit in what they're doing. In other words, they want to put Donald Trump in jail. And if Donald Trump is convicted and says, I don't think I want to go to jail, well, their next step is then to show up with the guns and try to force him to go, and if he doesn't go, to kill him. That's ultimately where this is going. And of course, you're saying, well, I don't give a shit about Donald Trump. Fuck him. Well, then, if they could do this to Donald Trump, they can do it to you, and they don't need 10 guys to do it either. You can probably do it with one guy. So you have no rights. You have no laws to protect you. All that stuff they taught you in school. Now I'm talking to older people. Younger people, they probably haven't taught you anything in school other than boys can be girls and let's all dance along to the drag queen anthem. Older people, when we were taught in school, we had certain laws and rights that protected us, the citizens, from the government. None of that's true anymore. None of it. We live in a banana republic. What's a banana republic? Well, that's a third world country where they don't have any laws, and it's just whoever can round up the most followers then gets to persecute the other team and put their leaders in jail. Well, that's exactly what's going on here. The other team is trying to put their main opposition in jail. You can't spin it any other way. That is exactly what is happening. So it's no fun living in a banana republic. These are unstable governments where you have no rights. You can work your whole life to build up a little pile of security, a little pile of cash, and it can be taken just like that with no recourse to you. You have nothing to say about it other than, damn, I'm glad they didn't kill me. And if you're unlucky, they'll do that too. So that's what's going on in this country. So what does it mean why are they doing it? Look, the people in charge are communists. I like to use the word Marxist. A lot of people don't recognize that word. Communist, fascist, whatever word you want. Pick out the worst dictators of the 20th century. That's who you're dealing with right now. That's who's in charge. And if you're a Democrat, I'm sorry to scare you, but that's who you're supporting. And if you don't recognize it, at some point you will. Whether that be, I don't know, when someone you know or like is being marched off to the prison camp, or when you yourself are being marched off to the prison camp if you're particularly stupid and just haven't figured it out by then. But it will happen where you will wake up and go, oh my God, what happened here? It will happen, eventually, unless you're just particularly evil and are in on it, or egging it on. Yay! Go evil. Let's get all these people. Let's cull the population, cut it in half. That way we'll save the earth. So the people we'll kill, of course, are all Republicans. Let's do that so we can save the earth. But at any rate, the Democrats are doing this. Democrats equal communists. They're doing this because they want to control the country entirely with no dissent. They want no dissent. They've almost got it now. What dissent is there? There's no dissent in the media. If anyone speaks out of turn, they're thrown out of polite society. Tucker Carlson, banished to the backwaters of Twitter. Oh, he'll do his best he can, but it's not the same platform he had than when he was on TV every night at 8 o'clock. Just isn't. So that's one example. But by wrecking the country, and that's what they're doing, they're just wrecking the place. Things that cost a nickel 10 years ago now cost a quarter. You can just, what happens is people simply go, oh my God, the world's ending. Things are bad. Things are really bad. And they're brainwashed by the constant propaganda that's just 24/7 shot at them, that they just, well, what do I do? Propaganda masters. And of course, the government says, well, what you do is you give them more of us. We need more. If we had more government control, we could fix all these problems. They never think to themselves, maybe you're the one that's causing the problem. No, these people that are under the sway of the propaganda masters, they do whatever they're told. They're just not smart enough or engaged enough to figure it out. Oh, okay, well, I've been too busy trying to survive on my own to really give us any thought as to whether you're lying to me or not. Okay, well, whatever you say. You need more government control. What do I do? Oh, vote for you? Okay, I'll vote for you then. I'll just keep voting for you. And I'm sure you'll fix this at some point. Us over here on the Republican side, where we're kind of like, it doesn't have to be this way. It really doesn't. Things could be better. Things have been better in the not so distant past. But, we know that the Democrats lie to us, but no one listens to us. But at any rate, if they can wreck the country enough, they get to institute whatever tyranny they want. Look back in the 1930s. The world started to fall apart because of the Great Depression. People were starving, literally starving, dying of hunger. And their solution was, give us government control. We don't want to have messy things like democracy slowing things down. There's no time for that. There's no time. We're starving in the streets. We need just strong men to get in there and just kick ass and take names and do whatever they got to do to give us a few crusts of bread to eat. And that's what they got, a few crusts of bread. They didn't get a lot else except losing all their rights, and maybe occasionally crazy Uncle Eric got carted off to the prison camp because he liked to speak out of turn. Well, we never liked Uncle Eric that much anyway, so the hell with that. And then ultimately what they got was war and ultimate destruction. because that's what ultimately happens when you're dealing with tyrannies. It always ends in war and death. And that's where we're headed. Absolutely, that's where we're headed. So, this is why the Democrats are doing this. It's like, well, this is just another way we can wreck the country. We can just absolutely wreck the country, and beneficiaries, us, the totalitarians, we're the beneficiaries. So why wouldn't we do it? So that's why they're doing it. Now, from in the detailed technical aspect of it, why are they doing it? They want Trump to be the nominee in 2024. Let me say that again. They want Trump to be the nominee of the Republican Party in 2024. I'll say it a third time since I don't have graphics. The Democrats, Joe Biden, the communists, want Donald Trump to be the Republican nominee in 2024. Because they're almost certain they'll beat him. They know they can beat this guy. They've already beaten him. And I would, from a handicapping standpoint, I would say they've got a 90% chance of beating him again. You're saying, well, that by going after this guy in this way, it's going to make it very difficult for any Republican challenger to get any kind of traction, to get any kind of headway. For another thing, they're also flooding the zone again in the Republican primary with, and who is they? Well, the Uniparty. Republicans that are essentially communists and but call themselves Republicans. They're flooding the zone with nobody candidates, so one guy cannot emerge. Like, well, I'll just say Ron DeSantis as the one guy. That's the one guy I think they're kind of afraid of, that they do not want to see Ron DeSantis heading a unified Republican Party in 24. So they flood the zone with candidates like that have absolutely no chance whatsoever. Nikki Haley, what's she doing in the race? She has no qualification. All right, I guess she was the governor of South Carolina, right? I don't even remember. I think she was. All right, she is qualified, but she has no name recognition. She has no record to run on of any type of anything recent. She's not. She has no chance. Asa Hutchinson, some nobody senator who heads the Romney faction of the Republican Party, of which there's like 10% of the country, I think, that falls in the Romney corridor, and most of those are Democrats. This man has absolutely no chance in a Republican primary. None. What's he doing in there? Well, obviously what he's doing in there is simply to make it harder for the party to coalesce behind anyone but Donald Trump. He's there to take votes away from DeSantis. Chris Christie, Chris Christie says, I'm in there to beat up Trump, or that's what's being said about Chris Christie. Ultimately, well, I don't know. Yeah, we just got to ignore that. That's from the wife, and it was probably important, and I'll pay for that. But we're like 15 minutes into this rant, and I'm not going to stop now. So, what was I going to say now? Chris Christie, prospectively in there to beat up Trump, but he's there to take votes from DeSantis. They all are. There's only two lanes in the Republican primary. There's the Trump lane, and then there's the not Trump lane. And if all the votes for not Trump are being split up 10 ways, there's no way they can beat him. There's ultimately no way they're probably going to beat him anyway. I'm probably going to vote for the son of a bitch, and I don't like him. But the only way we're going to stop this kind of nonsense, this kind of criminality, and that's what it is. It's outright criminality by the Biden Justice Department, the Biden administration, the communist Biden administration. The only way we're ever going to try to reverse this slide into tyranny is to shove the guy that they say we can't have so far up their asses he comes out their nose. bastards. It's the only way we're ever going to stop this kind of thing. Now, what they're gambling on is that Trump is ultimately the nominee. All the while, he's just fending off bat, 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 bat. Like sitting outside at a summer picnic with the mosquitoes and the gnats coming at you. Just totally slap, 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 slap. Having to knock away legal bullshit every day of the week from basically now until the November 24 election. They're just hoping that'll just wear him out. It'll wear down and he won't be able to raise money. Enough rich people will go, I don't know if I want to be involved in this. I mean, they're not only involved in it just from the aspect of you might spend money on a guy that's going to lose. You may end up under criminal prosecution. Well, what for? It's illegal to give money in an election. Is it in this environment? There are no laws anymore. Remember, no laws. So if I am a tech billionaire, and I say, I don't like what's going on in this country at all, and I kind of liked it when we had Trump in office. I want him back. I'm going to back Trump in the election. Here's a big check for a couple of $1 million. What is going to prevent the Biden Justice Department from knock on my door and shake me down? Look what they're doing to the guy that's going to run against their swing vote in West Virginia. The governor of West Virginia, all of a sudden his businesses are under investigation. Shazam! What a surprise. What a surprise. So if you step forth with any kind of footprint in the political process against the regime right now, you're guaranteed to get attacked. Whether that attack be IRS audits, DOJ investigations, threat of criminality. Again, former president of the United States. This is the second indictment. Third one will come too. What's the third one? That's that Georgia nonsense about calling the Georgia Secretary of State and questioning the vote totals there. Which I don't know is anything wrong with that because they were very questionable, are very questionable, remain very questionable. Oh, by the way, I can now say that on YouTube. But that's a whole other episode if I ever decide to make it, but whatever. So there will be 3 indictments, at least 3 different indictments. And I forget where I was going with that, but at any rate. So yeah, this is all bad. Now, how can we win? How can we win? Well, again, one way we could win is if somehow Trump will be the nominee in 24 of the Republican Party. Now, I don't know whether he'll have been convicted at that point. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, in other words, if you bring an indictment in a deep blue state with a deep blue jury, I don't know it's that hard to get 12 communists to say, yeah, Donald Trump is guilty of burying Jimmy Hoffa. It's not true, of course, but they could, these are communists. They'll say whatever to achieve power. There's no ethics when it comes to communists and communism. There's no laws. There's no morality. They'll do whatever they have to do to achieve power. I think history is pretty clear on that point. So he may be convicted at the point of, say, the Republican convention. What does that mean? I don't know. Will he be forcibly put in jail? All this stuff. Now they have to be careful. Again, Joe Biden, he walks a fine line on a lot of things, but on this point as well, where he wants to damage Trump and he wants to try to, primarily where he's trying to do is hurt his fundraising. Well, you can't win without money in politics. Trump lost in 2020 largely because he was buried in advertising in that cycle. Buried. You did not see hardly any Trump advertising here in the swing state of Pennsylvania. 10 Biden ads to the one Trump ad you saw. 10-1. Buried. And that works. Why do they run these advertisements? Everybody says that. Why do they run these advertisements? I'm so sick of them. Because they work. Because they work. If you run more ads than your opponent does, you're probably going to win. That's a basic fact of politics. If you're able to bury your competitor with advertising, you're probably going to win. So, and that's what happened here. And I wouldn't doubt that's what happened in the other swing states where Trump lost. Now, where was the Trump money? Was he unable to raise enough? Why did he not spend his own money that he allegedly has zillions and huge amounts of? Well, who knows? But so that's what they're trying to do again here, is just cut off his fundraising so he limps in to the 24 general election as a damaged candidate of a fractured Republican Party. Now, again, how can we win? Well, if Trump is successful, and when I say if he's successful, that implies that he's going to try. I doubt he is, because he's Trump. In other words, I just won the Republican primary. Wouldn't it be smart if I tried to rally all the people I just insulted for the past 2 goddamn years and tried to make them all feel better and got them to back me against this tyranny, this horrible trashing of the United States to save the country? You think he might do that? Oh, of course he won't, because he's Trump. But if he did, then we might have a chance. If he is able to unite the Republican Party somehow behind him and get these scumbags like Mitch McConnell and Mike Pence and even dickhead Mitt Romney, and get some of these people to get behind him a little bit, even just a little bit, and take some of their big money people with them and push Trump that way, yeah, then it's possible we still could win this thing. I don't see how Trump doesn't win the nomination at this point. I just don't see how he doesn't win it. He's so far ahead. He has name recognition well beyond anybody, and it won't stop. Again, these nominations are designed to these indictments are designed to assure us that he is the nominee. No other candidate's going to be able to get any oxygen. Ron DeSantis isn't going to be able to get his message out because every time he says something, there's going to be indictment news right on top of it. Boom. Ron DeSantis. Well, I think that, we need younger leadership and somebody that does this and that and the other. And then, boom, there's going to be a leak from, the Justice Department to the Washington Post about, Trump's bus driver or his limo driver may have flipped in a breaking news in the Florida indictment case. And that'll be the next 24-hour news cycle will be that. And DeSantis isn't going to be able to get any air at all. So I don't see any way around it that Trump is going to be the Republican nominee, just the way Joe Biden wants it, just the way he's manipulated the system to have it. What do we got to do? We got to make sure that comes back to haunt him. It's like, okay, you want to try to play with the elections again, you fuck? Let's ram it up your ass. Let's ram Trump up your ass. That's what I want to do for the next 18 months. Let's stick it to these communists. Let's throw them out on their ear. And if it's Donald Trump we're going to put back in, well, then it is. Donald Trump is nothing to be proud of. Let's put it that way. I'm not excited to support the guy. But I'll tell you what he isn't. He isn't a communist. And that is all that matters. That's where the Democrats, my Democrat friends, and I have a lot of them. I know one person mentioned something to me and they said, who are these Democrat friends that you have? And I thought, some of them. They're just closet Democrats. And you're friends with some of these people. You just don't know how they vote. Well, I do know how they vote. And they're just, they think they're smarter than Donald Trump, for one thing. He offends them because he misspells tweets. And you go, oh my God, it's your, like, you are. Not you're possessive. Y-O-U-R. He just didn't put the apostrophe in there. That type of stuff bothers these people. So, they figure, oh, he's an idiot. I know he's a narcissist, and that bothers a lot of people. I don't know there's a lot of good things about being a narcissist. But at any rate, Donald Trump is one of the better presidents that we've had probably in this century. And he's so far beyond helping the United States as opposed to these bastards that want to wreck the place. It's like night and day. There's no decision about it. It's not close. It's like if you get past this guy's personal annoying flaws, he's so much better a president than Joe Biden. And when I say better, I mean better for you, better for me, better for a normal American. Now, if you're a billionaire, a Wall Street plutocrat, no, he's probably not better for you at all. If you're a freak that likes to dance around and cut his own dick off because he doesn't feel like being a man this week, he's probably not better for you. But for the other 80% of these Americans, there's no question. Donald Trump is better for this country than Joe Biden. So that's what we got to try to get out there. We got to try to get some of these people that are just brainwashed by the media and the Democrat Communist Party to see that. It's like, don't you understand what's going on here? I mean, they're tearing down the foundations of this country. The rule of law is what's enabled this country to get where it is. And you get rid of that, we're no longer a great country. We're just like everyone else. In fact, we're probably worse. So that is a foundational thing that we have got to restore. And you're never going to be able to restore it with the Biden administration. What are they going to do? Say, okay, now that we've gotten Trump, we're going back to business as usual, where we judge people by the law, not by the person. No one will believe them. They can't do that. No one will believe it. So, it's bad news, but, it's not unexpected news. So, we just go forward, and this is, important things are going on behind the scenes right now. This is where this next 6 months, there's a lot of very important things that are happening, but it's all stuff that we don't see. What am I talking about? Fundraising. This is where all the candidates, and that includes Trump, they're trying to raise money, trying to get money. Now, I'll stop you there and admit freely, I'm not giving a fucking dime to Donald Trump. He's a billionaire. I'm not. I'm the one that's catching it in the goddamn teeth for his failure to win the 2020 election. I'm the one that's paying through the nose for ground beef and steak and even pork now. The price of that's going up. That is costing me money. I don't have the money to just throw at that and go, well, I don't care if it costs twice what it cost yesterday. That's costing me a lot of money, among other things. So, no, he can raise his own money. I'm going to lay it out on Donald Trump. It's like, you're the one that's such a salesman, dude. Then you go sell yourself to all these billionaires, these rhino corporate billionaires. You get their money. I'm not sending you a dime. You figure it out, Donald Trump. So, there's not a lot we can do about it unless you're so gung-ho and you figure your $25 to Donald Trump will help. Hey, knock yourself out. You're a better man than me. I'm not sending him a dime. But that's what's going on right now is the fundraising wars are going on. And whoever wins that, it's going to have a lot to say about who wins the general election. Now, you know, the Democrats don't really have to raise money per se, in that they have such huge amounts of revenue streams coming in from the teachers' unions, the government employees' unions, the tech billionaires, from all the overseas dark money, the George Soros type money. They don't have to worry about money. We're going to be outspent in November. It's just a question of how much. If the Republican Party, really the key is, can the Republicans unify behind one person, which will ultimately be Donald Trump? Will the Republicans support him? And when I say Republicans, I'm talking about the money guys, the Wall Street guys. If they do it, we have half a chance. If they don't, well, we'll lose again. So all remains to be seen, but bad stuff, not unexpected. What can you say? What can you say? Just another example of how we're living in dark times in post-America America. I'm Eric Arnold. I believe in free speech. We'll talk again.